This is Ethan, and I'm here with Dave, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 18-inch.
On this episode, we celebrate the end of the Strings Attached tour with conductor Eric Roth.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
I'm so sad, Ethan. The Strings Attached tour is over.
I know. It's so sad. It officially ended after 67 days Sunday night in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I'm still getting Google alerts for ticket pricing to Little Rock. I was thinking about it.
Yeah, what a tour. I mean, I am so happy for just all the experiences that we got and all the shows we got to see. We got to see 18 shows each this tour, Ethan.
So amazing. And we got some crossover, but there were some different shows in the 18 each, which is so exciting. And when we first started the podcast, you said, hey, we should do reviews, because you have always done reviews whenever you see a Weird Al show. And that was something new to me. So for each of our 18 shows, even the crossovers, even the ones that we weren't together on, there is a review. And those are our Strings Attached bonus episodes, Centimeters. And we are slowly putting them up. But as of this recording, there are, 16 of them out there?
Yeah, and we have a total of, believe it or not, 27 centimeter episodes.
How did that just happen to happen?
Totally pure coincidence.
We should record another one, so it's 28.
Hey, did you hear that our friend Allison Parsons called into the 347 Spatula hotline from the Indianapolis concert, and she left us this voicemail?
Holy crap, he did Jurassic Parku, and Tom Lennon sang Yoda.
How cool! Jurassic Park and Tom Lennon on the same show! Thanks for calling in, Allison. That was a great heads up. I wish we could have been there.
Yeah, I guess if there was one show we could have gone to, it would have been Indianapolis.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, we both did see Tom Lennon, of course, at the ceremony for the Weird Al Star in Hollywood. But we were both also, a couple years ago, at a Mandatory Fun show in Las Vegas where Tom Lennon sang Yoda. So we kind of got a preview of that, but it's always fun to see a celebrity guest sing it.
Yeah, I've seen Tom Lennon sing Yoda, and I've seen Lin-Manuel Miranda sing Yoda.
And I did too. I was at both of those shows.
I always wonder if he's going to bring out another celebrity
Right.
to ever sing Yoda. Every single time, it's like, is he going to pull somebody out? Is he going to pull somebody out? Or is he going to go to the guy in the front row?
Right.
Now you sing it.
It's funny because a show that Al has guested on, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, I saw that show in New York City this past summer, and they had a special guest come out and sing a song, and it was Lin-Manuel Miranda. So I'm thinking, every time I go to Radio City to see a comedy music show, Lin-Manuel's going to pop up. So it's 2 for 2 so far. So we'll have to see.
Well, I do go every once in a while to a Radio City Music Hall to see the Rockettes. So if I see Lin-Manuel Miranda up there kicking with the Rockettes, I'll let you know.
Yes, please do. Please do. Oh man, but I'm gonna miss going on tour. I mean, it was so fun getting to hang out with you and Jackie and all of our friends and all of our listeners that we got to meet. It was such a fun summer of Al.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to miss the music. I'm going to miss the whole touring lifestyle I've adopted this summer. You know, I'm going to miss Al. I'm going to miss everyone in the band. I'm going to miss the Al's gals. I'm going to miss Eric. I'm going to miss JW, Marnie, Melissa, everyone in the crew that we met. And many of them we met for the first time.
Yeah, and of course, I'm going to miss seeing the orchestra. I don't know if we'll ever get another orchestra tour. I mean, when we talked to different folks, they said, hey, this was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and it very well could be. I mean, there's no guarantees. We could see another Strings Attached tour, but as far as we know, there's nothing planned.
Right. And we know that Al is taking 2020 off.
Right, so the rumor is that 2021 is when we'll get our next Weird Al tour, so, I mean, what are we going to do all next year, all 2020?
Oh, we're going to make podcast episodes.
Okay.
Oh, did you see the picture that Al posted at the end of the tour with everyone in their pajamas?
Yeah, I mean, I recognized a lot of the people in that photo, of course, because we made cool T-shirts for everyone in the crew. And I don't know if you spotted a little Easter egg in the top right corner of that photo.
I did. JW had on our official Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast T-shirt.
I was so thrilled to see that. So thank you, JW, for wearing our special shirt. And it's, I mean, such a classic photo. And it's such an important photo because everyone saw it. Weird Al shared it. Everyone in the band shared it. All the, everyone I saw who was on that tour was sharing it.
So we did get a couple of our listeners ask us where they can get a T-shirt. And if you are interested in getting a T-shirt, please let us know. You can email frank@2000inch.com or hit us up on our social media @2000inch and let us know you're interested.
It's best just to send us a direct message, then we'll know that you're interested. Or email Frank. Frank is, he's the one in charge. He controls what everybody sees. So you can always send it to him. But, of course, the people who already have shirts, those are our folks who donated when we had our Indiegogo campaign. As well as a couple close and personal friends. So the next round of shirts, we'd love to get it out there. So let us know. We'll get you on the list.
Yeah, get your pre-orders in. We definitely want to get out another batch of shirts.
And they are such cool shirts. I mean, I have been wearing mine all the time, and it's so cool to have our logo on a shirt. I know the technology has been out there for years, but it still amazes me seeing my name on a shirt. So other big news, they just came out with this new series called Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, where they have a different celebrity guest on each episode. And the one and only Weird Al Yankovic was on the most recent episode.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me to guess who.
Oh, well, I mean, if I'm talking about it on this podcast, it's not... It's not a great question to ask. But so that is now streaming on Boomerang Tunes, and I believe it's like a streaming service. So you got to sign up for it. I can't wait to sign up and check that out. I heard it's really good.
I used to watch Scooby-Doo when I was a little kid all the time, so I'm really excited to see Al on there.
Yeah, I saw like a little clip of it online, and it was really silly. So I can't wait to see the whole episode. So, collector alert, Dave. DementedPunk.com, which is, of course, the website / company that put out Dr. Demento's Covered in Punk album and all sorts of paraphernalia and t-shirts and cool stuff. They are putting out a brand new reissue of Barnes & Barnes' Vu Baha album.
Yes, on 3 different color vinyls. Neon purple, classic black, and neon magenta. And the neon purple is limited to 150, and the classic black is limited to 100.
I think it's so cool that the plain black disc is the super rare one, because it's never the case,
It's almost demented that happened that way.
So of course I had to order them all, and I can't wait. They look really cool just by the pictures online, so I can't wait to actually receive them and check them out.
And Al, of course, plays accordion on Gumby Jaw's Lament on that.
Yes. Big news in Minnesota. Twine ball, of course, for the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota, made by one man, which we all know because of a certain Weird Al song. Al had a show right near there, and they celebrated by unveiling, they renamed the street Weird Alley.
That's funny.
So, Dave, I know you and we have not been to the Twine Ball yet. This is now yet another reason we need to get out to Darwin, Minnesota, and check out the Twine Ball and, take a picture of the Weird Alley sign. It's, I'm too excited. I need to do it. We need to do it now. Let's just quit our jobs.
Right now?
Sure.
All right, let's go. Pack up the car.
It'll only take 3 whole days and nights, so...
We did fool around, and we did try to plan out a trip where we could drive there in exactly 2,000 miles.
Yes.
And we came pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, if people are interested in that, maybe we'll actually do it. Wouldn't it be so cool if we rented like a bus and, you and I just sit up front and we just record episodes the whole ride, and then we just stop at different locations from the Twine Ball song? I think that'd be so much fun.
Stop for more pickled wieners now and then.
Of course, of course.
All right, I'll bring the Spider-Man comics.
Okay, all right. I'll bring Mama's rhubarb pie. So lots of news in Weird Al land these past couple weeks. So glad to finally catch everyone up. So Dave, of course, we started off the Strings Attached tour on episode 5-inch with our interview with the orchestrator of many of the songs on the tour, Scott O'Neill, and of course he also was the conductor for the Red Rock show in Denver.
Yeah, we thought it was only fitting to end the tour with the main conductor from this tour, the man who's traveled with the band from city to city and conducted over 50 shows, often with a different orchestra every city, Mr. Eric Roth.
And Eric, of course, split the conducting duties with his father, Arnie Roth, but he is the main conductor. He did the most number of shows, and I actually never saw a show without either him or Scott, which is kind of funny. But after the concert in Pittsburgh on July 7th, we met up with Eric. We found a spot somewhere backstage, and we talked to him about how the tour was going. We are here with Eric Roth from AWR, and he is the conductor for at least 50 of the shows on Weird Al's Strings Attached tour. How's it going, Eric?
It's great. I just had a really fun show.
We got to watch that really fun show.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I mean, you look like you're having an amazing time up there. Is this like, what is this like for you to be up on stage with Weird Al?
It's a thrill. I mean, it's. I look at it like this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You know, to work so closely with a living legend and the real deal major performer. You know what I mean? Like, it's. I've just never worked with anybody who's just so on point about everything.
Now, were you a Weird Al fan before you started working with Weird Al?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, as a fan, you know, would you be listening to the songs and just really thinking like, man, this would be so much better with a full orchestra behind it?
No,
Okay.
that's not how I was thinking about it. I was just, you know, enjoying myself. I mean, there's so much joy in this music and comedy, and you know, it's. I mean, I'd get into specifics if you want to, but you know, I'll leave it at that for the moment.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
We want to dig deep with Eric Roth.
So I would love to know, you know, as a Weird Al fan, you know, when you find out, when you get the news, you are going to be conducting for Weird Al 50 shows, you know, what is your reaction? Did you faint? I would faint.
No, I've never fainted. I mean, in my life.
Knock on some wood, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, thus far.
Okay.
So I didn't faint. I just smiled really hard. You know, it was just like really exciting, happy news.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I said. I look at it as a once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, realistically. Is the guy going to do another tour this magnitude with an orchestra anytime soon? I mean, probably not.
Probably not.
Right. Have you worked with any other artists on this type of thing?
Oh yeah, I have, but I mean, not on this big a tour, and certainly not on with this demanding a show.
Right.
I mean, it's a seriously demanding show. I mean, demanding of the orchestra players and me.
Sure, absolutely.
Not to mention some other people on stage.
What is your you know, what was your reaction when you saw the orchestrations? You know, did it seem overwhelming compared to some of the other stuff that you've done, or you know, how would you describe that process of like actually digging into it for the first time?
Well, looking at the orchestrations themselves wasn't the part that was where I felt the real challenge. It was more about, you know, getting a lot of the nuances and transitions. And I mean, this song is on click, and we got to be really, you know, quantized and right there and really sink into the groove. And this song is not on click, and we're definitely moving tempo, you know, moving tempi, you know, I mean, like it's part of the song, or like we're catching cues, or, you know, all sorts of stuff like that. So I would say that more of the challenge is like the actual physical act, you know, the physical performance and rehearsing a different orchestra almost every day.
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but it is a different orchestra every time you were up. Almost every time you're up on that stage.
It's true. There are a few repeat orchestras,
Right.
but not very many.
Right. So I just interesting to know, like, what are the challenges with working with a different orchestra every single, almost every single evening?
Well, it's a different challenge every day. You know what I mean? Because it's you're talking about like for the 41 piece group versus like the 71 non-reduced orchestra. I mean, you're talking about 41 people, like
Sure.
41 different people than the 41 that you dealt with last night or the night after. I mean, let alone if you're dealing with 71. And it's just, there's different skill levels, there's different preparedness levels, there's different musical abilities of all these people. There's different cultures of different like towns and musicians there. I mean, there's so many different things. It's just so complex, Dave and Ethan. I couldn't start to. I could be here all night.
I would love to know. My understanding is that there is a rehearsal. Are you in touch with these orchestras before the day of the show? What is that process like?
Yeah, we definitely are. We're in touch with every orchestra before the show, and they have access to the parts so that they can prepare, because that's how you succeed.
So we're talking. We're at the Pittsburgh venue on July 7th. When would that orchestra have gotten the pieces to start looking at it?
Tonight, I would say that they've had stuff probably in the ballpark of a month.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And is it? And this is just the collector in me, but is it a digital file they get, or do they send books? How does that work?
Yeah. It's not plausible to be sending out physical copies,
Right.
Like for
I would assume so.
Like 67, different dates. So when it's a pickup orchestra, by which I mean like it's a freelance orchestra that is hired in the city by a local contractor.
Yeah.
Then it's they have access to PDF files. When it's an established orchestra like the Nashville Symphony from a couple, I'm losing track of time from previous to tonight. They have regulations where they need to get the physical music at a certain amount of time in advance by their collective bargaining agreements and this and that. So that's a slightly different situation. So we have more than one set of music out there, but typically, most of the orchestras get PDF.
So the physical
parts.
ones, do they keep it or do they have to give it back?
You gotta give it back, man.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned earlier about getting the cues from Al and the band and stuff. How long did it take you to get used to those cues and to kind of figure out what those cues were and
well, it's funny you would ask because the reality is that really pretty much very little time.
Oh,
it was just
wow,
like
okay.
a little bit of rehearsal and
Really?
and here we go.
So did you basically, I'm sure you probably at one point rehearsed with the entire band up on stage.
Of course.
As well, right?
Yeah.
So was that like 1 or 2 days? Was that a week? Was that?
Think on the shorter end.
On the shorter end? Oh, really? Okay.
And was that in LA where they are based, or was that before the first shows
It
in
was
Florida?
before the first show in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
We had the pleasure to interview Scott O'Neill on a previous episode. And we also know that Scott wrote the orchestration for a lot of the things, as well as Sean O'Laughlin.
Right.
So I want to know if you had, if you kind of had the opportunity to change anything in what they wrote, or if you've kind of talked to them at all about what they wrote.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a lot of interaction with Sean O'Laughlin, but
Right.
With Scott O'Neill, because they're the more recent orchestrations. We've had some correspondence, and we have changed a few things, mostly for like just some like practical performance considerations, but not a lot of stuff. I mean, and the reality is that most of the changes are not coming from me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That it's we'll call it a team decision.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good.
So it's not like it's not me making a executive decision. You know? Having said that, in any given rehearsal, I'm making plenty of executive decisions about the music and how we're performing it and whatever.
Of course.
But that's a little different than like changing their charts.
Right. And another thing is that Al often improvises while he's up on stage, so
Yes.
you have to really be on your toes when you're dealing with Al. So, what kind of process do you have in place for his improv and kind of stuff, like in Yoda, for example?
That's a very good example. Last night actually, in Cleveland.
Right.
Right, Yoda. I guess this is probably what you're thinking of.
Yes.
Is that
Yep.
is that what is typically not an open section sing along in terms of the length,
Right.
the duration. I mean, it went longer just because he was in the moment and was enjoying like making this guy suffer.
Yeah, so Al, pointed the microphone for a chorus, and a guy in the audience apparently didn't know the lyrics, which are very easy lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one word, man. And if you didn't know it before tonight, like, you really didn't get it from, like, the first, like, 3 choruses of the song, But, so in a situation like that, I mean, I really don't sweat it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the big thing is just, like, making sure that the orchestra... when we do go forward with the piece, rather than like, because right then we're holding essentially, right?
Okay.
Is I'm just trying, I'm holding up my hand, trying to get everybody, to make sure they understand what's going on, and then and then I show them where we're moving on. And really, let me put it this way: if that kind of thing bothered me, like, what the hell am I doing here? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
let Weird Al be Weird Al, for goodness sake. I mean, like, if that's a problem, then we have a problem.
This is really cool. I don't know how many people know this, but your father is also doing some conducting on this tour.
That's right.
So how cool is that? I mean, to me, to be able to work with my father would be like absolutely amazing, and I got to think it's the same for you. But how cool is that to like be able to work with your father? And how do you guys decide who's going to do conducting what evening and what?
Well, we've been working together for a long time now, it's, he's one of the. Besides our personal relationship,
right?
I mean, he's a very important professional relationship to me, and what I typically tell people, and it's true. The more time I spend in show business and, the more musicians I meet, the more respect I have for the guy. You know what I mean? And that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
But but to the topic of the question about what is that, how do we decide who's doing the shows and stuff? I mean, we kind of knew from the beginning that I was going to do the bulk of them. I think mostly because of the... I don't remember how we decided that. I don't remember how we decided that exactly, but I do know that I wanted to. I know that I wanted to do as many as that I could, and yeah, I mean, look. Truth be told, a lot of the shows that he's doing are determined by what when there aren't that many in a row. Right. You know what I mean? So that's a factor.
So it's based a lot on the tour schedule.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And what is it like? I'm based doing this tour. I mean, you're like night after night. You're in a different city almost every night.
Right.
What is like traveling out on the road, being in a different city and a different, just what's the tour life like?
Well, I'm on the crew bus as opposed to the band bus. Right. There are two buses.
Sure.
And honestly, I feel like the whole production is a reflection of Al, and I feel a lot of gratitude for the entire experience. I mean, like, the crew are beautiful people. They take their sleep seriously. They take they take being in good humor seriously. the part that's grueling is the actual, like, I'm doing a really intense rehearsal and then a really intense show every day.
Right.
I mean, I can sleep on the bus, you know? I can do that kind of thing, you know? Like, I mean, when we're doing a border crossing tonight, you know, at like 5 in the morning or whatever we're doing like that, that's when it starts to get a little grueling.
Right.
You know, but I have to stress, like, I'm not out here the entire tour, you know, so like that I'm not the guy who's getting like getting beat up and, like, you know, like the crew are, you know. I mean, they're doing the whole thing. They're working day and night, you know. It's they're the guys who are, you know, like making the thing possible.
Yeah, Ethan and I have had a lot of interaction with the various members of Weird Al's crew, and they've always been spectacular people.
Oh,
and Al surrounds himself with the just absolute greatest people.
Exactly.
He really does.
Exactly. And I mean, the whole thing is a reflection of, you know, his vision, and it's a really good feeling.
For the nights that you are not conducting, do you ever get to sit back and watch the show?
No, I'm not there if I'm not conducting.
Yeah.
You know, I'm you know, giving my kids a hug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, but
is that more important than seeing a Weird Al show?
No. I mean, I've made a point of seeing some Weird Al shows.
Okay.
You know, but I'm seeing a few of them lately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I gotta wonder, you know, watching you, you know, your back is to Al, of course.
Yeah.
Do you want to turn around and watch it?
Yeah. I mean, I do. I mean, obviously, as he would say, you know, that's totally not feasible. But, you know, I haven't had an opportunity to, you know, like sit back and just like for a rehearsal, and you know, and I've seen like YouTube clips of the, you know, the front view and stuff like I know what's going on. It's not like it's a mystery to me, you know. But yeah, and I don't have my back to him the entire time. Like I'm trying to catch a visual cue here and there, you know. Sure.
Well, so your back is to Al most of the time, but I'm thinking, you know, for Tacky, when he goes out and he's twerking in an old woman's face, that's kind of in your field of vision. Is that hard to concentrate?
You mean like because it's on the screen?
It's right in front of you, yeah.
Is it hard to concentrate? I wouldn't put it that way. I would say more like I get to enjoy that.
Right. One of the benefits of...
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean... Truth be told, like I've got to be paying attention to what I'm doing, but you know, I can still see what's going on. It's a big screen.
Yeah. From an audience perspective, you know, seeing you enjoying yourself up there, and you know, especially at some of the shows, you can see members of the orchestra, you know, singing along or bopping along. You know, even on parts where they're not performing, it's an amazing addition for the audience. That's
really cool. I mean, that's really great to hear. I'm getting a lot of joy out of this every night.
As are we.
As are the fans. They definitely.
So cool.
I'm curious a bit more about your background, Eric. Is it safe to say that you got into this field because of your father? No, it's not safe to say that. In fact, he actively discouraged me. Really? Yeah. Which I think was more his commentary on the professional prospects of the industry than it was about his assessment of me necessarily. But we came to. It's really funny. We do some similar things now, but we've come to it from really different places. Like he was a professional violinist when I was growing up. Oh, okay. Yeah, and. I mean, I come from, like, I was a percussionist and drum set player, singer, you know, composer is really where a lot of my training, where I come from is like the writing, orchestrating, arranging, and through that I started getting more conducting opportunities. And it turns out, like, I'm not as bad as some other people, so I got more opportunities, and amazing, you know, like, and then I've done it at a certain point. I had done it for long enough where I started to get a lot of joy out of it. You know what I mean? You turn a corner from like
just just working as hard as you can to make the thing happen to working as hard as you can to make the thing happen and getting joy out of it. You know what I mean?
Of course. I hope that I'm accurate in saying this, that maybe I'm speaking for a lot of Weird Al fans who maybe are not people who frequent orchestras and symphonies and concerts of that sort. I'm not really sure, what some of the things you're doing mean or how that corresponds and translates to the orchestra. Would you mind giving us just a little, layman's terms understanding of the role of a conductor?
Sure. I mean, the biggest, most important role of a conductor is to rehearse the orchestra. You know what I mean? Like, that's really the most important stuff. And then in this situation, it's like, you get the one rehearsal the day of the show, and you're basically trying to communicate as much rhythmic information as you can. I mean, also stylistic information, but mostly, because this is time feel music, that's like the bulk of it. Mostly what I'm trying to communicate is rhythmic information, with my gestures and body language. You know what I mean? So I will try to a lot of it is kind of like dancing, in the sense that you're trying to demonstrate. Well, dancing is not. You're not trying to demonstrate anything, but well, that's not true.
Depends on the dance.
Yeah, it depends on the dance. But,
YMCA, Macarena.
Your point is well taken. But I'm trying to embody. That's a better way to put it. Like rhythmic subdivisions and divisions to make it so that we and different entrances, so that people can feel confident about their entrances and things like that. I mean, a lot of what I'm doing in the performance is providing the reinforcement, in essence, to let people make their musical events happen with conviction. You know what I mean? So the bulk of the work is rehearsal, and then the performance is a lot of physical work.
Right.
Yeah. The rehearsal is a lot of physical work and, mental, verbal, time management, amateur psychologist, all that good stuff.
Now, this might not be a fair question because, every symphony you're working with on this tour are absolute professionals. But if someone is going off the rails or not doing their part correctly, do you have a way to course correct? Do you point at them and, is there a fail-safe when you're on stage?
It's a perfectly fair question, and but let's be a little clearer about what we mean by off the rails. First of all, do we mean like somebody is like lost? Do we mean somebody is behind the rest of the band? I mean, these are the scenarios I think of about like off the rails. Like playing the wrong stuff, like you're on the wrong tune, right? Like stuff like that. Yeah, and do I have a fail-safe? The fail-safe is putting my finger across my throat and making, and making like hairy eyeballs at them, until they do what I'm telling them.
Right.
The truth is that like if it comes to that, we're in big trouble. There, I mean, I don't mean in the existential way, but in the for that musical moment,
right.
there's trouble afoot. But fortunately, usually the kind of course corrections that I have to make with musicians are not so dramatic.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're right. It does happen, and there's enough sample size, shall we say, of performances here that you have to expect some stuff. I mean, I'm not going to name any particular show, but I'll just say that something that you're describing has happened, and I did have to make that gesture.
It's the same gesture you made to us when we waved to you when you're on stage.
That's not true. He's joking.
That is true. I am joking.
I'm interested a little bit more in the background of Eric Roth. You mentioned earlier that you had done some singing and you played some instruments. Can you let us know what kind of stuff you sing and what kind of instruments that you play?
Well, my main instrument was when I was a younger person was percussion and drum set, and I played like any style that I could get the job. You know what I mean? So like, a lot of jazz. I played in like a hip hop act. Like I played all sorts of stuff, and. As far as the singing goes, I mean, I've done a bunch of like, pop singing back, when I was younger, like more some choral singing, but more like solo singing and that sort of stuff. Maybe the most prominent gig I ever had as a singer was that I had the opportunity to perform with Meredith Monk once, and that was pretty. That was pretty serious because that's some really major vocal music, but water under the bridge. This is long ago. I mean, the writing is where my heart is. And now it's conducting too. I mean, like now after there's been enough time,
Sure.
Would you say working with Al is the first time working from a conducting or music standpoint or singing standpoint for comedy music?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Oh, you got to tell us.
I mean, I have some experience writing my own original music that I think intends to get some laughs.
Okay.
There's, I've had some other experiences. I used to, when I played some drums in some acts where it was, it was supposed to be funny. Too.
Okay. Any that we might know?
Probably not.
No, okay.
Probably not. We're talking a while ago.
Okay. You weren't like the drummer for Tenacious D or something.
No, that's a good example, but no, I haven't.
I wasn't sure. You looked a little bit like Dave Grohl, so I had to ask.
I don't know what to say.
Cannot confirm nor deny.
I have never conducted in a comedy setting before this. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've answered the question many ways, and
Yeah.
I appreciate all the answers.
Yeah, and I'm curious now that you say that. I want to know how you can conduct and also keep it funny for Al. Is that a?
I mean, I think the big thing is for us to kind of hold it down and almost be the straight man.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the idea is to make it pop. Like make the music pop, and
Sure.
and then he can build the funny on top of that. So I mean, I kind of see us as a straight man as far as that goes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That does make sense. Yes.
I would love to hear about the opening number that happens before the intermission, before Al takes the stage.
The orchestra only stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What has been your experience with that? Are those songs that you've performed with or are familiar with?
Familiar, absolutely. I mean, like they're pretty iconic pieces.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I had never had a chance to perform any of them as a conductor
Really?
before this tour.
Really?
But it's a lot of fun. It's really cool. I mean, especially I get a lot of joy out of when the melody of Raiders happens, and I can just feel the smiles. You know
You
what I
can
mean?
feel
Like,
it wash over the. People laugh when they hear it.
Oh, and
you know,
that's
it's-
for a very good reason.
Yeah,
you know?
it's such an unexpected but amazing and recognizable moment for everyone when each of the songs happen.
Yeah, but I mean, particularly with the UHF connection, you know, like
Right.
I feel that people like get that,
Yeah.
and it's like this joyous little moment, and I
hadn't considered that. You know, the beginning of UHF is, you know, Indiana Jones, and the beginning of Strings Attached is Indiana Jones.
well, it's intentional.
So I have to ask you, this might be like, you know, picking your favorite child, but what is your favorite song to conduct on this tour? Do you have a favorite?
My favorite song of the Al stuff or the orchestra only stuff?
I'd love to hear both.
Well, I'd love to hear both. I was, specifically asking for Al, but yeah, I would love to hear both.
Okay, the orchestra only stuff. I mean, my favorite moment in that whole set is the moment I just talked to you about. You
Yeah.
know, like I just love that feeling. You know, like we're sharing that joy, and it's just like I love it.
Yeah.
As far as like the whole piece, what's like most fun to conduct? I mean, the throne room and end title is like that's, you know, I grew up with that, and you know, it's like it's I always loved that, you know.
Yeah, so iconic.
As far as like the, you know, the show,
Right. The Weird Al portion.
the
of
Weird Al
yes.
show. My favorite thing to conduct on that. Let me just think real quickly. Favorite. It's hard, but
What are some?
the
Yeah.
challenge and the rewards of Jackson Park Express are pretty great. You know what I mean? It's like it's so exposed. It's so long. There's so many different things that happen, and different parts of the orchestra, you know, like have to play different kinds of roles and things. So I find that's a serious, you know, it's a serious undertaking every night.
Yeah, that seems to be one of the most popular songs that I hear people saying that they you know, every time I hear that song, I like it more and more. There's just so much musically to that song that you like. You can't hear it all on the first, second, or 30th listen. You know, it's just it's so beautiful, that music, and it's almost as if he wrote it in mind. I'm going to one day perform this song with an orchestra.
Well, I understand what you mean. A lot of the orchestration is a reflection of the stuff that Al did on the original. I mean,
Right.
it's like it's. You know, it's Al's music.
I think there's really only 3 words to describe Jackson Park Express. If you want to say it with me. Pretty stinking majestic.
And I, you know, it's so fun to like rehearse the orchestra, and when you're rehearsing Jackson Park Express, and it opens up, and like they're resting for a few bars, and Al is, you know, saying some lyrics that just like make them die laughing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that's fun for the rehearsal.
That's got to be hard to perform. You know, maybe some of these people are not as familiar with Al's music, and they're hearing these hilarious lyrics for the first time, and they got to be professional, and they got to keep playing the instrument, and they got to stay in time.
That's right. Well, you know, fortunately, they hear him for the first time in rehearsal, if that's, you know, if that's like that. But I mean, you know, honestly, obviously, they mean a lot more when he's doing it live. You know,
Right.
But, yeah. No, I look, as far as you know, wind players, you know, they might have a little more of an issue, but everybody else, you should be able to handle it. You know?
I was thinking, because of your vocal experience, Eric, maybe the 3 of us could a cappella sing a verse or something from a Weird Al song.
Really?
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
What'd you have in mind?
I mean, you know, I'm comfortable with any of the songs on this show. You know, maybe we could do Yoda just to help anyone who gets, you know, caught in the audience. Or
Oh
if
God,
you have one in
I
particular.
love so much. We can totally do Yoda. When I love so much when he picks one person.
That's the best. That's the best.
You know, all right, just this guy. All right.
And we've seen him pick, like, he'll bring out a celebrity. We saw him bring out Lin-Manuel Miranda to do that part, and Tom Lennon. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
So should we do Yoda? What do you?
Sure.
Ready when you are.
Do we want to do the whole song? What do we want to do?
Whatever you want.
What do you want to do?
Well, it was your idea, man.
I don't know. I didn't know if you guys.
I sang Yoda 2 times today.
Already,
You know?
That's true.
You know, and actually, it's true. I do end up. That's one of the in the rehearsal we use a lot of we use audio from a previous show for many of the as audio reference,
Right.
So that the orchestra can hear what's happening with the songs, and get the sense of certain things, but. For Yoda, I actually don't use the track because we're not on click or anything anyway, and I end up singing it in rehearsal.
Really?
Yes, to give context for the to give context for the
Wow.
musicians. So yeah, that's how I've taken to do that as a time management strategy.
I think we picked the right song then. So how should we do this?
2, 3, 4.
I met him in a swamp down in Dagobah, where it bubbles all the time like a giant carbonated soda. S-O-D-A soda. I saw the little runt sitting there on a log. I asked him his name, and in a raspy voice he said Yoda. Y-O-D-A Yoda. Yo 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 Yoda.
Oh, that was amazing.
That was so much fun.
Okay, now just you.
Just this guy.
Just this guy.
And you know what my favorite is when it's just this guy and he can't sing at all.
Right.
It's just like Yoda. Yeah. That's even better than one guy, one single person. It is, the one single person who can't sing.
The guy who's giving it his all, just not enough. So where can we find you online? Or do you have a Twitter page? Do you have a fan page? Can we join a newsletter? What is the best way to find you online?
Oh well, you can go to awrmusic.com for stuff like that. But I mean, you can basically. I'm not trying to put myself out there. I'm out there with the different productions that I'm with. You know what I mean? So I mean, for example, I'm a music director of A New World, intimate music from Final Fantasy. It's this chamber music project where it's an official production of partnership with Square Enix, the game
That is
developer.
really cool.
And
is that going on tour?
Oh yeah, we've been performing for years.
That is so fun.
Like nothing this summer for
Right.
obvious scheduling reasons. In the fall stuff starts up again. You can check that out at ffnewworld.com if you want to.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of crossover between Weird Al fans and Final Fantasy fans.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like it's not the worst fit.
That is really cool. We'll definitely check that out. And Eric, this was such a blast to get to talk to you and get to know you and hear about your experience on the tour.
Oh, thanks so much. It's my pleasure, and I had a good time too.
Extra special thanks to Eric Roth. So much fun. That was a blast talking to him, hanging out backstage, singing Yoda, talking about the tour. He's such a great guy.
Yeah, Eric gave us a copy of the Final Fantasy music CD, and I listened to it on the way home from Pittsburgh. Now, Ethan, I'm not a video game guy, but this music is so pretty. I mean, I put that album in my regular rotation in my car, and I still listen to it all this time later on my longer drives.
And if you want to check out that Final Fantasy album or any of the projects Eric and his father Arnie have worked on, you can check out their official website, awrmusic.com. And if you're a Final Fantasy fan, you can check out the tour dates of A New World intimate music from Final Fantasy on ffnewworld.com.
Check out our bonus centimeter episodes to get and hear our concert reviews and fan reactions, and of course a new full episode every Wednesday.
Yes, and you can check us out on all of the main social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're at 2000inch. Our website's 2000inch.com, and we even have a Facebook group where you can discuss episodes. We do polls about, sometimes the polls get pretty silly, but you can go and join on the conversation. And of course, anywhere you post about the podcast, use hashtag 2000inch.
Yes, 2000 inch. Help us find your posts a lot better. And don't forget, you can always call us at 347 Spatula. That's 347-772-8852. And leave us a message anytime, day, night. We love hearing from our listeners. And we might even play your message on the air.
And we want to thank all of our listeners, especially those who subscribe, and especially those who are listening right now.
Yes, if you like this podcast, please subscribe. It means a lot to us. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, anywhere you can stream podcasts.
And we have so many great guests coming up over the next couple of weeks. Every guest we have is amazing, but we've got some extra special ones coming up that I can't wait for everyone to hear. So subscribe, and you can listen the second they get released.
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000 Inch Weird Al Podcast, episode 18 inch. I'm so sad, Ethan. I don't sound sad there.